They called him the Iceman. Ethan Cole, billionaire CEO, sharp suit, sharper tongue. A man who built an empire from nothing but left a trail of broken trust and loneliness behind. To him, love was a distraction, emotions were weaknesses, and kindness was something you did only when you had something to gain. But that cold December night, when he agreed to one last blind date just to get his well-meaning assistant off his back, he never expected the man sitting across from him to melt years of bitterness with one simple, genuine act of kindness. Hey everyone, welcome back to your channel name, where we share real, heartfelt stories that remind us of the power of kindness and second chances. If you love stories that touch your heart and make you believe in the goodness of people again, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what kindness means to you. Now, let's dive into today's story. Ethan Cole was the kind of man whose life looked perfect on paper: a luxury penthouse overlooking New York City, a private jet, a company worth billions. But behind that success was a man who hadn't smiled sincerely in years. After a messy breakup years ago, Ethan had decided that people were unreliable, love was overrated, and that money was the only thing you could truly count on. So, he buried himself in work, chasing deals instead of dreams, and numbers instead of people. But his assistant, Claire, had other ideas. "Come on, Ethan," she pleaded one Friday afternoon. "Just one blind date. One dinner. You don't even have to call him again if you don't like him." Ethan sighed. "Claire, I don't do dates. Especially not blind ones." "Exactly why you should," she said with a smile. "You've been alone too long. What's the worst that could happen?" He gave in. Partly out of exhaustion, partly to shut her up. "Fine. One dinner. That's it." That night, the snow was falling softly outside as Ethan walked into a small, cozy restaurant, the kind of place that smelled like comfort food and homemade soup. It wasn't his style at all. He preferred sleek, modern restaurants where the menu looked like an art exhibit. He was early, as always. But when his date walked in, a man in his mid-30s with a worn leather jacket and tired eyes, Ethan almost stood up to leave. The man looked ordinary. Maybe even struggling. "Hi," the stranger said, flashing a nervous smile. "You must be Ethan." "I'm Sam." Ethan nodded stiffly, sitting down. "So? Claire set this up, huh?" "Yeah," Sam chuckled, rubbing the back of his neck. "She's my neighbor. Said you needed a good meal and a better conversation." Ethan didn't reply. He wasn't used to small talk or kindness. He noticed Sam's hands were calloused, probably from manual labor. The man clearly didn't belong in his world. But Sam didn't seem to mind. He talked about simple things: his daughter, Emma, who was 7 and obsessed with drawing unicorns, his job at the auto repair shop, his love for cooking. At first, Ethan barely listened. But something about Sam's genuine warmth, his easy laughter, the way he spoke about his daughter with so much love, started to break through Ethan's icy shell. "Being a single dad isn't easy," Sam admitted with a sigh. "Some days I feel like I'm failing at everything. But then Emma hugs me and says, 'You're the best dad in the world,' and it's all worth it." Ethan felt something stir in his chest, an emotion he hadn't felt in years. He didn't know what to say, so he just nodded. When the check arrived, Ethan instinctively reached for it. But Sam shook his head. "Hey, I invited you. I've got it." Ethan frowned. "You don't have to." "I know. But I want to," Sam said simply. It wasn't about money. It was about kindness, something Ethan had forgotten existed without expectation. After dinner, they stepped outside. The snow was heavier now, covering the sidewalks in a soft white glow. Sam pulled out his phone and showed Ethan a picture of his daughter. "She made me promise I'd show you this," he said, smiling. "She drew this picture of me meeting someone new. Said maybe I'd finally have a friend again." Ethan couldn't help but smile, a real one, for the first time in a long time. They said goodnight, and Ethan walked back to his car, his heart strangely lighter. He didn't expect to see Sam again. But fate had other plans. The next morning, while on his way to a business meeting, Ethan's car broke down in the middle of traffic. Furious, he called his company's driver, but the line was busy. Out of options, he called the nearest repair service. Guess who showed up? Sam. Covered in grease, with that same easy grin. Well, Mr. Fancy Suit, he joked. Didn't think we'd meet again this soon. Ethan couldn't help but laugh. Guess the universe is trying to teach me something. Sam fixed the car quickly, refusing extra payment. You already paid last night with conversation, he said. Ethan didn't know how to respond. No one had ever done something for him without expecting a return. Later that week, Ethan did something completely out of character. He drove to the repair shop and brought pizza for everyone there, including Sam. For your team, he said awkwardly. Sam raised an eyebrow. You sure this is you, Mr. CEO? Don't tell anyone, Ethan replied with a grin. Over the next few weeks, they met more often. Sometimes for coffee, sometimes for dinner. Sam introduced him to Emma, and Ethan found himself enchanted by her innocent joy. She showed him her drawings, and he started keeping one of them on his office desk. One snowy evening, Ethan confessed, before I met you, I thought people only cared about what they could get from me. Sam smiled softly. Then I guess you were hanging around the wrong people. It hit Ethan hard. Maybe he had been. Maybe his whole life had been a race against shadows, chasing success while running away from humanity. He started changing, slowly, but surely. He began showing kindness at work, listening to employees, helping quietly without expecting thanks. His company culture began to shift too. People smiled more. Laughed more. Months later, on a sunny spring afternoon, Ethan invited Sam and Emma to his office. He had a surprise. Sam, he said, handing him an envelope, I've been looking for someone to lead a new charity initiative, one that supports single parents. You're the perfect person to run it. Sam blinked, speechless. Ethan. I don't know what to say. Say yes, Ethan smiled. Because you reminded me what kindness looks like. Tears welled in Sam's eyes. You changed my life. Ethan shook his head. No, Sam. You changed mine. From that day on, Ethan wasn't known as the Iceman anymore. He became a man who believed in people again, a man who learned that true wealth isn't measured by what you own, but by the hearts you touch. And every Christmas after that, Ethan spent the evening not in his empty penthouse, but at Sam's house, sitting by the fire, laughing with Emma, grateful for the blind date that turned into a lifelong friendship. Ending message. In a world that often teaches us to protect ourselves, to build walls instead of bridges, Ethan's story reminds us that sometimes one small act of kindness, one simple conversation, can change everything. So maybe, the next time you meet someone who seems cold or distant, remember, they might just be waiting for someone like you to show them warmth again. Because kindness, it doesn't just change others. It changes you. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a little hope today. Thanks for watching, your channel name, where every story reminds us that kindness still matters.